Fuck with. I will carry you.
Take that, weeds. Rocks. That girl drove this dude so crazy. He out there kicking rocks.
He's fighting the air.
Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. So the movie we're going to be reviewing right now, something that we've been talking about for a little bit. This is Malcolm and Marie. One night a couple gets into a huge ass argument. The end. That's pretty much what I mean. Listen, I know that with an argument, there's a lot more to it than that. Listen, this is just a long ass argument, but that could still be cool because with arguments, they're always complicated within themselves. There's a lot that can be done from two people just yelling the shit at each other, you know? So you don't, and there have been movies that have been carried just by simple conversations. My Dinner with Andre, just two dudes at a table just talking. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know, they're all interesting points that can be made for having a movie about a long argument. But when that argument goes on for almost 2 hours, is that enough to carry a movie? Well, we'll see with this, first of all, trailer right here. And then we will be back with our review.
You are by far the most excruciating, difficult, stubbornly obnoxious woman I've ever met in my entire life. Marie. Marie.
Marie! God damn it.
Looks like she's going to pour those hot noodles on him.
What the shit? Marie! My arms, God damn it. Kill that fool with macaroni and cheese.
What if there's someone who loved them better?
Fuck with. I will carry you.
Take that, weeds. Rocks. That girl drove this dude so crazy. He out there kicking rocks.
He's fighting the air.
Fuck this fucking bitch, man. Shit, I'm gonna kill
I'll take all of you. Come at me.
talking that shit to me. Hey, babe, I'm all right. Y'all be in a minute. Fucking hoe. Shit.
All I wanted tonight was thank you, Malcolm. That is it. Hold on to me for dear life.
As you can tell, very minimalistic film right here. You got a house, very nice house. You got two good-looking people. Got stylish black and white going on. And you know, with that being the case, this is essentially a play. You know, play where a very dynamic camera and a lot of space to play with and some awesome cinematography going on. With these two people carrying this movie, look, it takes a lot of energy for them to do that. And I have to say, they have it. Now, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, but, you know, both of these actors are great in this, I feel. John David Washington, he brings it all. He's funny, he's charming. You just see a lot of him, man. Mainly, like I said, that energy. I mean, look at him. He's out there kicking rocks. I mean, come on. You know, like he's fighting bees. And shit. God, help! She had to laugh at him. Yeah, you know, I thought he was good. And then I'll pass it on to you guys after I talk about Zendaya, man. Zendaya, you would not think that this person would have the acting abilities that it takes to do this if you just judge it by Spider-Man. She's in that show, Euphoria, where she plays a teenage drug addict. So, you know, she definitely has a lot of range. She has a lot of depth. But what I'm impressed with Zendaya is that Zendaya has, this is a very young girl. I don't know if she's even 25 yet. Maybe she is. But the thing is, she has this incredible maturity in this role. And I ain't, for anybody out there who's talking about, oh, you sexualizing this girl, oh, she mature. Shut the fuck up. What I'm talking about is that she has to be the one that has to have the confidence, and she's the one that's actually in control of a lot of these arguments. And there's just a confidence and maturity that goes in these arguments where it's like, damn, this girl is really good, man. She's almost like an old soul with the way that she's carrying this role right here. And by the way, what you have here is that you have Malcolm, played by John David Washington. He's a filmmaker who just came back from what it seems like a very good premiere of his film. People, they're talking about him and saying he's going to be probably the next Spike Lee or the next guy that directed Moonlight, Barry Jenkins.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, and a lot of people have been through this before. It's like, everything's fine except, you know, he just somehow, some way, he fucked up with this girl. He did not say the right thing. He did not do the right thing. And she said, hey, look, I'm glad you had a good night, but fuck you. I'm about to burn it all down because you didn't respect me the right way. And so that leads to this huge argument between the both of them, to where you'd almost decide, you have to decide, like, is this relationship going to even last? Because they got a lot of baggage with this. But what you guys think, man? Especially particularly about these two actors right here.
You know, I'll say this. You know, I think that the title of the movie is not the best one. Because what it should be is, and another thing, because that's what this movie is. It's like, I was right there with you. Zendaya and John David Washington, wow, they are carrying this because they're the only two on screen. And their dynamic, how it evolves, how it constantly goes back and forth is great. The first time, she's in control. The next time, he's in control. And then it keeps doing the same thing over and over again, over and over again. And then what happens is because you had this great thing, but you're repeating it so many times, and it's like, I'm getting diminishing returns at this point. What you're doing is great, but it's like, is this all that's gonna be?
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm getting kind of, all right, I'm just kind of getting sick of both of you. I'm getting a little tired of this conversation and how it just seems to constantly escalate. Yes, we get a big reveal when that person has a retort, and then they switch sides, and now it's like now they're on top, and then another big reveal happens. Like, okay, I see what the formula is here, and then it becomes formulaic. Then I'm kind of anticipating everything. Then I'm starting to get a little bored. Initially, I was with the movie the first half hour. I was like, oh, this is really good. But after a while, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. And I'm just, at the end, I'm just kind of tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly where it should be on Netflix. But yeah, I got very uninterested after a while.
Well, I tell you, I'm about to pass to Martin, just since we're talking about the arguments, because I don't want to jump too far ahead, but the arguments here, I felt like the arguments, they didn't become uncomfortable. Now that could be a thing where that's a good thing or a bad thing, because maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want this really uncomfortable feeling if you have to sit there and watch them. Maybe you want to have them bring up some things. You're like, ooh, god damn, shit, girl, why'd you say that to him? The arguments are not really uncomfortable in this. That could be a plus or minus, because they're kind of funny, especially with Malcolm. Malcolm just does a whole lot of mumbling. Fuck with me, mom.
I've never seen someone eat macaroni cheese as aggressive as him. And there's actually picking up on the mic.
Yeah, there's a point where this fool he's argued so much. He gets tired of arguing. There's a point where she says something, he just grunts. He just, I was like, even this fool is tired of arguing.
This is some of his improv right there.
And man, I'm gonna tell you something. Even though the arguments are not uncomfortable, do not watch this with your partner, man. I'm telling you, if you already got tension, you already got some arguments going on. Because I mean, this is especially for a male-female partnership. Because if you watch this with your partner, somebody gonna take sides, and then that's gonna bring up some shit that you did. Because
in the movie at the end, you be like, "That was crazy, right? I know, but something he said reminded me of you."
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I'm sorry. What exactly? You don't want me to mention it. No, you brought the shit up. Go ahead and say it.
And they would use that shit against you. Boy, there was a particular scene in here, and I knew the moment because I watched this with my wife, and something told me not to do it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Something told me not to do it, but there's something that had a scene here, and my wife, she didn't even look at me, but I heard her say at the side of my ear, I heard her say, "Well, she's right," and I was like, "Oh, fuck."
It's not a good idea. Let's just talk tomorrow. Your speech, Malcolm.
Oh, give me a break.
You forgot to thank me, Malcolm. It's not a
Oh, at that point, my wife said, she right, just like that time when I was like, oh shit. I'm like, Malcolm, why you gotta fuck my life up? Why'd you do this?
Yeah, you're the one who chose to watch it with your wife.
Yeah. Well, I was about to watch. She said, like, I watched that too. And I'm like, God damn. Maybe we should watch Soul again.
You watch it the whole time going like, please go well. Come on, make up. Stop fighting.
And it didn't help that Malcolm, and I had to agree with, because it didn't help that Malcolm was just saying a bunch of stupid shit. I'll get to that in a little bit, man. Martin, what are you thinking about?
So we don't have any hot sauce or ketchup in here, do we? Because I got to eat a big plate of crow, and I need something to choke it down. Oh, everything that you were saying about these two actors, I honestly wasn't even looking forward to this movie, because I've always thought of them as kind of mediocre talents, especially John David Washington, even less. where like it's like, wow, suddenly he's leading movies, but they're being stolen by his co-stars, and it's nepotism the whole time. And they are both amazing in this. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, okay, so he's one of these actors where there's some actors who if you give them something, they can be great with it, and if you just give them a generic leading man, they're like they don't stretch. But I was fascinated. I was completely caught up. But I totally got wrapped up in what they were arguing about and how it came about. I was like, this didn't feel like one of those Jerry Springer things where it's manufactured. I was like, I see how this is coming about. It's very natural the way it starts and the way it escalates and the stuff they're saying to each other. You know, there was a lot of truth and shit they had to deal with. And as much as John David Washington's character Malcolm might have said some stupid things to her, there was so much of what he was going on, his rants are just about film criticism and even her talking about the commercialization of film and all. I was like, man, I'm digging everything y'all are saying. I was totally on the edge of my seat with this movie the entire time. I was loving it.
Yeah, and I was the one that wanted to love it, and I didn't. Listen, because there's a lot of stuff in here for me to love. This is a movie that should be speaking to me on every level, which it almost
As a matter
did.
of fact, the two of them made me think of you. The fact you tell me you was watching with your wife, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate, because I was like, yeah, these are those, as you and I have talked about, those 2 a.m. arguments when you're just trying to go to sleep.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yes.
you just won't let this go, will you?
Yeah.
And I thought we had it settled, and now it's back again.
And it's usually because he's a creative and I'm a creative. You know, it's usually some shit like you work too much or you did this and you prefer your art and job over me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, so on the one end, I relate very well. You know, and also, this is a stylish-ass movie, man.
Yeah,
I love,
very much so.
I love, man, first of all, this is in a home that fits the cool of the black and white. The setting and everything, the set design fits the cool of the black and white. They have a well-chosen soundtrack of jazz and soul that fits the mood. I was drinking bourbon while I was watching this and felt like, wow, you know what? I'm really into the atmosphere. The arguments I did not mind because the actors do it so well. I would even recommend that if you don't like the arguments here, watch it for the actors, man, because the actors do an incredible job with carrying this film. The problem for me really is that it's too long. And again, if this had been like an hour and 15 minutes, I really would have loved that. But I just did not like some of the directions that they were going with the arguments. And mainly because we always talk about a bottle film. Now, bottle film, and that's kind of what this is. It was a bottle film drama. And with that, I just feel like there should be, the stakes are increasing. This argument plateaus for me after a certain point. Yeah. And the reason why it does is because Malcolm is a whiny bitch about it. The dude won an award, and this is an interesting thing. I have nothing against the movie being an argument for the whole way through. I have nothing against his character being a whiny bitch through it. But it just doesn't go anywhere after that. There are moments where it stops, and Malcolm is completely talking about some socio-political, pseudo-intellectual film mumbo-jumbo shit. And it's just kind of like, man, you're getting on my nerves now because you're just whining about it. You won the attention and the adoration of people that night. You got a positive review and your ass is still crying about that. And it would be great if that argument could be made in a way that lent itself to something that was interesting. But then they just start spouting off stuff that I think you see like when you have a film student make a movie. They want to tell you they want to let you know, I know about the history of film. I know about these legendary artists, and let me just go ahead and spin those out and pull them out and whatever. And I'm just kind of like, all right, you know, it's great, the arguments and the energy behind them and everything, but it just doesn't go anywhere for an hour and 40 minutes for me. An hour and 15, I would have loved it. It would have been cool. Would have been cool with that.
Sometimes less is more. Like, I think it really is diminishing returns after a while where you get bored with it. Or, like, yeah, because you're at that one point, like, where this argument just doesn't feel as earnest or as natural as some of the other ones. It feels like not really an argument, but like a hissy fit. And at that point, it's like, I'm just kind of don't really want to be with you. Let's go to another scene. Because usually, like, hey, we have this great scene between these characters, and let's go to the next thing. But no, it's just this one continuous evolving, argument that goes over for nearly 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes.
You're getting sick of hearing these pretty people, these handsome, pretty people argue. but you don't want to leave because they got some good drinks and that house is so nice. And every now and then, somebody will drop some crazy shit that'll make it go like, "Ooh, shit!" But then it's like, all right, they ain't going nowhere. I didn't hate it. I actually, and I don't know. I mean, I always say I didn't hate it. That's a little extreme. I should rather say that for all my criticisms, I did enjoy it. It's just wore out its welcome after a while. But there's so many things that are good here. If like Martin, if the arguments are really pulling you in, then that's great. You got something to stick around for because everything else is great.
Well, they did, and I recognize normally I'll like a play where the argument is escalating and new things are getting dropped. And the fact that this didn't do that was almost refreshing to me because I was like, this is more like a real argument because that doesn't always happen. A lot of times the big stuff comes out front, but it's all these little things. And it's but what are we really arguing about? Let's get down to that. And I went back and forth on, man, these two people, they don't need to be together. And then it'd be times it's like, well, I guess they do have something that works. Oh, no, they're both toxic. Me and my wife have never had an argument that's gone that long about that. But I could think of times when it's like, it got close.
Well, that's not my problem. I said, man, that's a bonus here. Like I said, these arguments are never to the point where like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable, I can't watch anymore. It's not like Marriage Story. Marriage Story is something where it's like, shit, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I want to leave, but this is so good. I'm so uncomfortable. No, this is like a real argument, and that's fine. I think that's great that they did that. I just, like I said, it just, man, it's not 2 hours, but it's an hour and 45 if you have the credits, 46 if you have the credits on there. So yeah, that's why, that's what I'm saying. Somebody said I'm being biased. What the fuck does that mean? Biased against what? I ain't about to go off. I'm just like, I was like, here it comes.
Here it comes.
No, I'm just like, what is that? What does that be biased about? I don't know what you mean.
It's so funny to hear you give the review I expected to give.
Yeah, and like I said, man, I like it. I do. I actually want, but I just want to like it more. That is my frustration with it, man. I don't know what I guess if I was to give this a rating, I would give it a high rental. Yeah, I like. Oh shit.
No. I'm agreeing. I'm nodding my head.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff going on here, and I tell you, man, the director. I have a lot of respect for the director of this movie, man, because this is a dude who, like I told you, I like directors. There's a lot of directors out here, you don't hear me mention their names, and I haven't even seen all of their movies, but I just appreciate their body of work. If you have a director that is very eclectic, has a lot of variety of different works in his background, then I really I like that. I appreciate that about a director. This director is kind of the same person. This director directed a movie called, let me see here, Assassination Nation. And have you heard of this movie?
Yeah, but I kept planning to watch it and never got around to it.
Yeah, this movie right here is very much different. This is a movie about teenage cheerleader white girls who go crazy and start brandishing guns and start taking over a city or something.
No, Spring Breakers.
See,
that was one thing that held me back. I was like, this sounds too much like Spring Breakers.
Yeah, it kind of sounds a lot like Spring Breakers. Now he directed this, ultra cool, stylish movie with 2 black leads.
And he created Euphoria.
Yeah.
Olsen, and I'm 18 years old. Of how my town, Salem, lost its mind. But let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, it seems like a very different movie, so I appreciate somebody like switching their tones up, catching you off guard. If you look at it, you would never guess that he did this other project over here. So yeah, man, I have a lot of respect for the director, but if I had to go ahead and give it a rating, I recommend people watch it. Some of you might like it. Obviously, everybody has different tastes, because it sounds like you really love this, man.
Really loved it.
Yeah, I can't love it, but I hope that other people do, because I do appreciate it, and there's a lot of stuff here that is so good about it. And I respect that. Yeah, it's a high rental for me. Yes, sir.
Now what are you going to say about that, Martin?
He said, well, I'll look at you because I know Chris Herman agrees with me. I'll let him wrap it up.
He always goes last. I'm going by time.
I know you by this point.
Yeah, you've been here longer than me. I ain't going to disrespect you like that.
We can have one of these hour and 45 hour minute.
We were having a good review. You always pick on the fucking smallest detail.
Yeah, but you have a way of doing this, and I see it every time.
Oh, here I go. You gonna catch me outside these blinds?
Shit! God, it's supposed to be a good night. God damn it! Fuck!
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah, this movie was a huge surprise for me. And whereas to see it on paper, two people argue for an hour and 45 minutes, and it doesn't escalate, I'd be like, yeah, I want no part of that. But between the acting and how well directed it is, just great direction and camera work for a simple premise. But it's like, man, you really, really cared about this and got me into it and kept me. The whole time I thought I might check my phone or do something, and I was just sitting like this the entire time, and really got into what they were saying the whole time. Honestly, if I'd seen this before when we were doing our top 10, it would have made my list. But yeah, I give it a high full price.
You know, and I have to say, I'm glad that you love it because I want the movie to do well.
Honestly, when it was done, like for you guys, it was like, oh, I'm glad that's over. When it was done, I was like, shit, I kind of want to watch this again.
I wasn't. Oh, drink next time you do it. Have a bourbon.
Well, see, that was one of the things that was fueling all this the whole time. I was like, you know what? This probably wouldn't be happening if he wasn't drinking so much.
Yeah, that's true.
I was just like, yeah, this is what alcohol on a night like this does.
Great direction, great acting. Just the premise just outlived its welcome to a point where I just kind of got tired of it. So it's perfectly where it should be on Netflix. Highlight.
There you go.